This is the silver 1 month overview reading for the month of January 2023. It's currently December 18th, 2022, 11:39 p.m. Eastern Time. And silver's spot price is currently $23.35 per ounce at the time of this reading. So the overall theme and behavior for the month, guys, we have a U-shaped dip that forms near the intersection of two perpendicular diagonal trend lines. It's crossed with it looks like a temporary breakout, followed by so there's a rally that offers an opportunity to open up a short position or to close out of long positions. There's some important stuff to point out here when looking at the cross correlations, the cross reading correlations. So first off, on the 1 year for 2023, we have the Priestess card representing the high correlation. So what we'll see a lot of the time is that this card will appear in the month where we see the highest highs. And you can see it's actually the theme card here. If we go into February, we see it again. So my sense is that we either see the high for the year both in January and in February, or it's right on the cusp of the two. We'll get into that with more detail momentarily. Another thing to point out is that I went back and I did the Eso-Meta analysis of the 10-year and found the high for the 10-year period to be here in 2022, with the low in 2027. Now that doesn't mean, you got to give it some wiggle room here. And my sense is that the high actually ends up being early in 2023. And it would line up quite well based on the 10-year. You know, you got to give it a little, like a year's worth of wiggle room. One card representing an entire year, each card representing an entire year is a little, you know, some cards are going to represent more time than others. But with that said, there's a high correlation here. So my sense is that that's just it. We're seeing a high for the year here in both January and in February. Or right on the cusp, and we'll get into identifying that in more detail as we progress with the reading. Now, the behavior around the highest high here, we have a highest high for the month of January. We have a breakout. There's a notable breakout. It'll stand out on a 1-month chart, and that holds true to this ruin, which is the breakout ruin as well. Behavior around the lowest low, I'm advised to be cautious near the lows. There's multiple false bottoms outlined throughout the month. It looks like we have our highs towards the end of the month, so with the U-shaped dip in there, we likely still have some kind of bullish behavior towards the end of the month. Looks like we have a peak around the 9th, 10th, and then we have highs around the 29th through the 31st. Identifying a lowest low, looks like that wasn't too difficult. We have it here on the 21st, roughly. And now there's quite a few other lows in there, but as far as there being a U-shaped dip, usually there's two peaks with a U-shaped dip in between when you see this Priestess card. So we have a high here on the 9th, 10th, and then we have highs here on the 29th and the 31st. And what do we find in between? We find the lows. This could also be another bottom here, but we have a lowest low here in between, so that would hold true pretty darn well, guys. All right, so on the first, we have a period of volatility with a sharp dip that stands out on a 1-month chart in the midst of that period of volatility. There's also a bit of a rally here on the first, offering an opportunity to open up a short position. I'll get into the trades in the paid version for silver. Guys, if you're new to Tarot for Traders, there is a paid version where we get into outlining the best trades that we see for the month of January. The way to get that version, it's identical to this version, it just has that extra portion with the trades. Way to get that version is to sign up for the 1 month on our website, tarotfortraders.com. Help support the channel. It's $29 a month. And guys, we've been nailing silver, like owning the highs and lows of silver pretty darn well, guys. So highly recommend doing that. Plus, it does help out the channel. If you're utilizing the silver every single month, it's something you should do for good karma. All right, so on the second, we also have another trade opportunity, which I'll get into at the end. But there is a notable support level that stands out on a 1-month chart that'll be highlighted here. And there's a cash out opportunity there on the second. And it looks like it's a new support level, like to the upside. There's some price swinging in there too, because between the second and the third, there's also decline. based on the fact that we have on the 3rd this move out of a decline from the bottom of a range to the top of a range on the scale of like a 1 month or a multi-day chart, I should say. On the 4th, oh, okay, and then over the week, overnight, like between the 3rd and the 4th, there's a notable drop. We should have a gap down on the 4th with a big move higher, a fast sudden move to the upside on the 4th. Rally ends on the 5th towards the early part of the day. And looks like there's a bit of a decline between that end of the rally on the 5th into the 6th, where we have a prominent trough that'll stand out. What do I mean by prominent trough? A prominent trough, guys, is like it'll stand out when you look at a chart. It won't be a lowest trough, but it'll stand out. It will stand out. And we'll be bound by the bottom end of a range here on the 6th as well when we meet that prominent trough. On the 7th, there's a rally taking us back to a support level. Matter of fact, it looks like there's rotation between the 6th and the 7th, the long support to the downside there, and then we rally out of that support level on the 7th. There's 3 crisscrosses back and forth through the same price level on the 8th, confirming a bullish trend, and we have a notable move higher towards the end of the day on the 8th, or overnight into the 9th. Notable reversal that'll stand out on a 1 month chart. It'll stand out there on the 9th. It's either the 9th or 10th we have, or it could be both, matter of fact, based on the card that we have for the 10th. But there's a prominent reversal standing out on the 1 month chart there on the 9th. And it also will most likely be a highest high there on the 9th or the 10th. On the 10th, we have erratic behavior back and forth through the same price level, confirming, in the midst of that erratic behavior, we revisit a crest that was recently a past opportunity, which is why I say we might see it, we might have the high both on the 9th and the 10th. That would make sense. Then there's a fake out on the 11th. Looks like there's a fake out. It looks like a notable move higher, an unexpected move higher, and a decline, both on the 11th. So a bit of a whipsaw there. On the 12th, a resistance level is highlighted. An important resistance level is highlighted. It also looks like we may have a couple prominent troughs here. Like there's some prominent lows that'll stand out on a multi-day chart here on the 10th, 11th, or on the 11th, 12th. On the 13th, we have a failed attempt to break through key resistance followed by a decline through key support on the scale of a multi-day chart or a 1 month chart, really. And what's notable to point out about this failed attempt to break through key resistance is that technicals would lead us to believe that we're going to break through or break out. Instead, we break down, decline through key support. On the 14th, there's a decline that offers an opportunity to open up a short position. To open up a long position in the midst of that decline. And then on the 15th, interesting. I think that's probably... I don't like that place for an entry to open up a long position, but what it probably means is that there's a little bit of a pop between the 14th and the 16th, it would look like. But I wouldn't risk it based on all the stuff that I'm seeing here. I'd rather stay on the short end, holding protection, because we have a prominent trough or a prominent trough that'll stand out on the 15th. On the 16th, we have a holding pattern with a pop and drop. When we pop, advice to open up protection there. We have a decline through multiple support levels on a 1 month scale on the 17th. On the 18th, there's a move higher through resistance. We create a new local high, so that's not a highest high, but again, it'll stand out after making new lows. There'll be a new high there, new local high where we move higher through resistance. We stay above it briefly, and then we break back down through the same price level. And then on the 19th, there's an unexpected move to the upside. It'll really stand out on a 1 month chart, reaching a day's high or a prominent crest for the month there towards the end of the day on the 19th, from which we decline the following day or overnight. There's a notable Matter of fact, there's a notable move on the 19th to reach that crest at the end of the day. I mean, it's a resistance level. An already established resistance level obviously will be below, so it'll be an important resistance level on the scale of 1 month that we meet, but there'll be a notable move higher to reach it. And then off of that peak or crest that we have there towards the on the cusp of the 19th, 20th, we'll have sideways fluctuations with a bearish trend on the 20th, leading us into a lowest low, most likely where the lowest low for the month will be. Not definitely, but most likely where the lowest low will be for the month. There on the 21st has the highest probability. But out of that lowest low, or that prominent low, there's a big move to the upside. We establish support and then we move significantly higher, standing out on the 1 month chart. On the 22nd, that move higher continues. We successfully turn resistance into new support on the scale of a multi-day chart. Towards the end of the day on the 23rd, we sell from a crest down to and through a support level. We do a U-shaped reversal below that support level, come back and reuse it as support. There's a rally along a diagonal trend line, breaking through horizontal resistance, meeting a secondary resistance, and then pulling back to somewhere between those two price levels there on the 24th. And then on the 25th, notable move to the downside. It'll stand out after making a prominent peak or crest there midday. A prominent peak or crest for the month. There'll be bearish price swings and a sharp drop that'll stand out on a 1 month chart there on the 25th. On the 26th, multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance. On the 27th, there'll be an important decision or agreement between two leaders highlighted here. Either that or a merger of some kind, but more likely, based that it's silver, it would more likely be a decision between two leaders here. With a lot of movement, with a lot of price movement, it looks like to the downside overnight on the 27th, 28th. On the 28th, we have a move lower to meet a support level. We break through that support level, meet a second support level, and then rotate sideways along that support. On the 29th, a notable move higher, the commencement of a rally, it would appear, and there's a notable move higher to reach what may very likely be a highest high for the month, followed by a sharp drop on the 30th, followed by another significant move higher on the 31st to reach for distant resistance. It'll be like almost an irrational move higher, and another moment here where we're most likely to hit a highest high. So between the 29th and 31st, we may see a highest high twice. And then in early February, it looks like, is where we get into probably the same high, which goes hand in hand with what I was saying, where we likely see the same high twice here, or it's on the cusp there of January, February, but we probably see the same high in both January and February, and it being a highest high for the year. What's also important to notate, guys, is here we have this high correlator here in early February. There's this highest high correlator, or a prominent high correlator here in early February. I think probably a highest high as well. It'll be probably the same price level as here, but hard to say for sure. In any case, it's the Ace of Wands, which is a very, very significant correlation. It's almost the identical energy to the Princess of Wands, which we have a cross reading correlation here. It's also a significant indicator. We see on the February reading as well. We have that Princess of Wands and a unicursal. So it looks like we probably have that. Looks like it's probably in the first week of February, really, the high, first week of February. And there will be a prominent trough that stands out between the beginning of January's where we hit that resistance level, and this decline in mid-January, followed by a rally in early, in the end of February and into early, in the end of January into early February. Yeah, see that this rally that we see here at the end of the month looks like it increases with bullish sentiment as we move, or bullish momentum as we move forward in time. And we'll get into the February one. For those of you that sign up for the February one, you get that before the 21st every month. So look out for that, guys. And don't forget to support the channel. The most important way to support the channel, guys, is by following that rule of karma. Pay a little bit of that profit forward, a little bit of that profit backwards, and make sure whatever you spend that money out of, you spend that money out of love. The universe is going to send it back to you tenfold in all directions, my friends. I will see you on the next one. Later. Okay, we're going to do some quick Q&A for price levels, and for those of you that are interested, the January silver reading was created on December 8th, 2022 at 2:01 p.m. Eastern Time. That's this file right here.
This is the silver 1 month overview reading for the month of January 2023. It's currently November 24th, 2022, approximately 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Silver spot price at the time of this reading is $21.13 per ounce.
Is silver's highest price level of January 2023 taking place on the 9th of January 2023? Yes. Is silver's highest price level of January 2023 taking place on more than one day in January of 2023? Got the universal. Interesting. Does silver's highest price level of January 2023 take place on January 10th, 2023? No. Okay, so it looks like that high isn't revisited on the 10th. Is silver's highest price level of January 2023 taking place on January 29th, 2023? I got the truce card, meaning that we'll see it again. Is silver's highest price level of January 2023 taking place on January 31st, 2023? Yes. I got the Ace of Swords, which is yes, but also in this type of indication, it's almost like a maybe-ish to me in some cases, but that for this type of question, it would mean we see it more than once. So I'm getting a lot of energy saying we see it more than once. Let's see, what else? Is silver's lowest price level of January 2023 taking place on the 21st of January 2023? No. Well, matter of fact, that would make sense because we don't have a trade correlation there. Is silver's lowest price level of January 2023 taking place on the 22nd of January 2023? Yes. Does silver's lowest price level of January 2023 take place on more than one day of January 2023? Yes. Alright, where else do we see it? Silver's lowest price level of January 2023 taking place on January 20th, 2023. Yes. Does silver's lowest price level of January 2023 take place between the 3rd and 4th of January 2023? Yes. Okay, so I was picking up on that. Looks like we have another place where there might be a high probability here of the lowest low. It's not an Eso-Meta kind of energy, but I was picking up on it, so I'll put it in that place. And when it's not Eso-Meta, I kind of translucify everything, make everything translucent. silver's highest price level of February 2023 a higher price level than silver's highest price level of January 2023? Yes. Alright guys, so that's the silver for January 2023. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Most importantly, my friends, make sure you follow that rule of karma. Super important to follow that rule of karma. As long as you do that, the universe is going to send it back to you tenfold in all directions. And there's plenty of ways you can support the channel, guys. We do all this stuff for free. So you can support the channel through any of the links below. Much appreciated for all of you that do support us, my friends. Much appreciated that you allow me to do what I'm most passionate about and bring these predictions to you all day long, every single day. Alright guys, I'll see you guys on the next one, and for those of you that have the paid version, stay tuned. We're going to get into the trades momentarily.